years on the air on WROI is the first federal program. Hosts may have changed, but the program is still the same. Now continuing a long-standing tradition, streaming on the First Federal Facebook page and on WROI. It's time for the First Federal.
And good morning, it is time for the First Federal program. Today, January the 24th, as we start the program with a temperature of 1. Todd, a little chilly out there this morning.
Very cold, Randy. That's kind of the theme of our show this morning. We're going to have some special guests, Whitney, Yates, and Pastor Jim Howard from Fulton County Hope, talking about their warming shelters. So it's been very timely today. It's been very cold for a while.
It has been.
You remember the last time above 32?
It's been a few weeks.
Okay. I heard the weather forecast just now.
Yeah.
32 tomorrow.
Next week's going to warm up.
Okay.
Next week's warming back up.
We have Tanner Lee with us again. Thank you for the show today, Randy. We want to welcome Whitney Yates and Jim Howard from Fulton County Hope. Welcome.
Welcome.
How are we this morning?
We are fine.
Good.
Warm.
So
nice
warm,
and toasty in here.
And that's what your guest spot's all about today is warming shelters and the need for warming shelters.
That's right.
So Fulton County Hope has started the initiative of having warming centers. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Fulton County Hope and how you got into the warming center?
All right. Well, for Fulton County Hope, I will say I'm a newer member of the group, but it did start in 2018. It was created to provide awareness and education regarding resources and provide pathways to accessing those resources.
Okay.
So, in 2019, our UK students completed a demographic study to determine the community's stats and income ranges and the potential percentage of low and to moderate income people who may need those resources.
So then you found out there's a homeless need in town.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I was talking to Pastor Jim Howard from Heartland Church, right?
Yes.
A little bit about homelessness in Fulton County, and it's hard to get a good number, but there are some estimates, right?
Yeah, there are some estimates. Go ahead.
So we're actually doing what's called a pig count. And so on the pig count, there's a day in January that everyone in Indiana goes out and does this count. So we've actually had special training to do it. And so you go out, they give you a survey, and you survey and you talk to the homeless people in your town, and you get a number on how many people there are. That way, if we do have an accurate pig count, the state could give us funding for it.
And that's dire need.
Yeah,
we need the state funding to help out.
It'll actually be on the 29th of this month. So
Okay.
next week we will be going out in the streets and we will be doing this pig count.
Do you have a rough estimate of how many homeless people there may be?
Well, last year I want to say they had documented around 50,
Okay.
but that's only documented. Those are the only ones that'll come out and say
Right.
they are. I mean, that's only a small percentage of what we actually have.
And I know this happens because I was doing some reading last night about this. This is kind of a point-in-time study.
Yep.
So it may depend on, are you looking at the right day to get the right count?
Yes.
But that's the only way really to measure things, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I do want to encourage, since we are, getting this out there, that during the pig count, what happens is we will actually give them like a gift certificate, or they will get something out of it. So
Okay.
if they, last year I believe they did like Taco Bell or something. So if they come forward and they fill out our forms, they actually get something for that.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
Incentive to try to get an accurate count. 'Cause
absolutely.
that accurate count,
Means a lot.
yeah, it means a lot for getting the number appropriate, but also grant resources and other dollars from the state,
Absolutely.
other resources.
Yes.
So you have warming shelters. What's a warming shelter?
Well, the warming shelter is, we have a area in our church that we were able to put cots in and divide the in, separate the men from the women. We have a little meal for them when they come in, keep them, after coming in, and then when they leave, we give them a little bit to take with them for the day. The warming shelter is basically what it is. It's a safe place, a place that we're not judging who comes in that door. We don't care who comes in that door, but we watch. We have people there that stays all night to make sure that it stays calm. But we want a place for people to come to get warm in these terrible times, because there's a lot of people out there that we don't know, and when they come in, sometimes they're frozen when they come in. So this is I think one of the biggest thing about this warming center is earning the trust of the people who are out there that need it, And we want them to understand that we're not out to get them arrested or anything like that. All we want to provide is a place for them to have a warm place. If they have children, to be warm, to be fed, and to go out in the morning and come back. So.
Well, Randy mentioned it was 1 degree this morning, right?
Yep.
And that means it was below zero wind chills last night, and it's been below zero wind chills for a couple of weeks now. So having a safe, warm place at night, do people come every night, or do they only come certain times, or
Well,
how's the process?
It's periodically. It depends. The other night when it was really cold, people showed up, but there was some situations that happened. But that's why we have people on staff right there, not staff but volunteers.
The volunteers.
Unbelievable number of volunteers we have. People who are part of this community and see that they want to help, and I can't tell you, I can't thank them enough for all they've done. But it's periodically. Some days we'll have 2, some days we'll have 1, some days we'll have none. It all depends, and I think it's like I said, it's getting over the trust factor, getting over the insecurities, all the things that go on with people who are out there fighting for their lives, and just saying, hey, we're just here to have a place for you to be warm.
So how does the homeless population know that this exists? I know you get some help from the police agencies in town that can help out a little bit.
So a big one for me is so the Celebrate Recovery, we go into there and
Okay.
like we encourage and we get hand out flyers and we do these types of things. And believe it or not, most of the homeless people actually have a cell phone, and most of them are on Facebook. That's actually more common than what you think. So a lot of them can see us on there, or we are trying to find out where they're staying, and we are taking flyers. Now I will say that a lot of times they don't want you to know where they're staying. They don't feel safe that way. So I don't encourage just anyone to walk into their areas, but we have people that are welcome into those zones. So they will let them come in and give them flyers and give them advice. And then during the pig count, we're going to give them more knowledge and information there.
So if someone knows of a homeless person, they should maybe reach out to
Absolutely.
Fulton County Hope,
Yeah.
so that you can make the appropriate contact and make them aware. How does one get a hold of Fulton County Hope and you, Whitney, and
Well,
Pastor Jim?
they can text me, and I think everyone in town already is at this point in time. We have a lot of volunteers, so I think I've officially met the whole town. So if
You want to share your number?
it's already on there.
Okay.
Well, my phone number is 574-727-0078. Now, if they can text me, I prefer text. That way, if I can't respond, I remember them that way. If I see that little, dot there that says I have to get back to you, it's easier. So if they could text me, that'd be great. Call me if you can't. They could always call Pastor Jim. They could call the church. They could, the Cross. If they get a hold of the Cross is pretty good about getting back to us. If they know Virgia's got this.
Virgia Smith, yeah.
Everybody knows Virgia Smith.
That's true.
They do. And then they can also get a hold of Lutheran Church is working pretty close with us
Yes.
too on this. So, do you have any other people that you?
So it takes a lot of resources. I mean, this is just not Heartland Church alone.
No, not
So
at
why don't
all.
you mention some of the volunteers
Yeah.
that you're thankful for?
So before I do that, there's one thing,
Okay.
we try to find out if they are hearing this. Okay, before we opened our doors, the day we opened our doors, we were getting people, calls from Peru and Logansport. They already knew about it before we even opened our doors. And then I work with JCAP, which goes into the jail, and I speak to men there and women. And I told him, we have a heart, we're having a warming center. And he says, well, you're from Heartland, aren't you? So they already know. So the word's out there. The
That's
word's
great.
out there. The big thing is just stepping into that door and trusting us while they're there. That's all. But the people that are involved now, we have various churches that are starting to work together. I took it for January. This Heartland took it for January. Then there'll be another church that takes it for February, and another church for March.
So the location changes. It's
Yes.
Heartland Church for
Yes.
January, then there'll be another church in February.
Yeah, but we're staying within town, so
Yeah.
that easy for people to have access to. But the other things is that we have people who have given their time for cooking the food. And a lot of people want to remain anonymous, so she didn't want us to tell them. But like the Richland Centers, that church has been with us, the Cross has been with us, Fellowship Missions. Now they're from Warsaw, isn't it Warsaw? And they are the one that's really helped us and came in and said, this is what you have to do. And he sat down with us and we started the first one here at the Heartland. So we're just learning a lot of stuff as we go on, so that when it goes to the next church, I says, okay, you guys don't have to do it in the blind, here you go. And
Here's the do's and don'ts.
yes, Starbucks has been a part of what we're doing. Dunkin' Donuts has been a part. Woodlawn Hospital has been a blessing to us. Fulton County Health Department. This community, honestly, this community sees a need, and we are really working hard at trying to help. And I think the next step after this, after we continue on with these, is to build a center just for warming and cooling, so that we don't have to go around. This is where it will be all the time, with different resources within that center, so that they don't have to go to 16,000 places to find things. They say, oh, here we are, we got this, this, and this. And the one thing that we have found in this community, that affordable housing is really, really, really rough. And that's another goal.
That's part of the problem
yeah.
for the homelessness too.
If I can say anything about Mayor Trent, is he has been a blessing. He has really came in. He's at every one of these meetings. He's stepped up to the plate, and he wants to see this community to fulfill everything that we can, and to help as many people as possible. So I think we're on that goal to hit a lot of these things. But all these things take time and take money. But there's the Optimist Club has been with us, different food banks, Casey's, General Store.
Definitely the EMA though. The
yeah.
EMA has been
Oh,
a huge
my goodness
help
gracious.
last year.
Yes.
EMA is,
Emergency management.
okay, I just want
It's
to,
not
That's-
medical. I always want to say it. It's
just
not.
want to make sure we appropriately mention it.
Yes.
Yeah, because with the warming center, you had to have cots, you had to have linens, you have to have different things in position to even accomplish all this. And my church couldn't have took it on without them. And they just came behind us and said, here it is, this is what you have. No, we just have to set it up to make
Well,
it.
it sounds like a great collaborative effort for Fulton County Hope, kind of being
Yes.
the foundation program and getting all the resources from the various church and local government agencies and lots of good hearts in the community that are willing to help out. Is this the first year of the warming centers, or is
They had a warming center, I think it was 2 years ago or last year,
Okay.
2 years ago, and they didn't really.
But it wasn't ran by us. Though.
Yeah, it wasn't ran by Hope. And so this is the first one that we have come and got Hope together with us and all these other people and created this system to be able to work. And I think it's a very good system, honestly. So I'm hoping that more of these homeless people will just say, hey, we need to be warm. We're willing to take that step.
As we start to wrap up our show, we're talking with Pastor Jim Howard and Whitney Yates from Fulton County Hope about warming shelters and homelessness. What things do you want to share with the community to make sure they understand about what's going on, or what are the needs? Anything you want to share as we wrap up?
Do you have anything that you would like?
We will actually be posting the needs on Fulton County Hope's website, and then so I would love it if some people could share that knowledge. There is quite a few things we would need, but I just want to make sure that they're getting taken to the right places.
Okay.
So we will be making a post here in the next day to let you know what we need, where we would like you to take it, and just kind of be watching out for things like that. I could always use overnight volunteers. It's very easy to find intake volunteers, which is just the first shift, but the second shift is very long and very tiring, but only if you do it by yourself. So if you just take one shift a night, or one shift a week, one shift a month, it will help out a lot.
So you need help from the community.
Yes, please.
Well, the other thing is that we do see a need out there, and we want to grab a hold of everything that we can as far as resources, grants, all different things to try to have a place for people to be able to go and to live and to have successful lives. Now, I know that a lot of people think that, well, if we put up a homeless shelter, or if we put up something, that we're going to draw people from South Bend, we're going to draw people from all over the place. Well, we have not found that to be true. The truth of the matter is that we have people in need. We need to meet those needs. And I believe we're going to be able to do that as we work together And as this community sees it, it's not what they think it is, and that we are trying to help people to come up to a level of life that we all would want to live.
And sometimes I've learned that homelessness is a transitory need, not necessarily a permanent need.
Sometimes, yes.
Because life circumstances change,
Mhm.
and that's what you're trying to help meet. And
Exactly.
warming center or warming shelters, I'll make sure I use the right terminology, is definitely needed, especially on these last really month has been brutal temperatures. That's the best way to put it. Well, thank you, Whitney. We appreciate your work in the community and your time today and helping let the community know a little bit more about the warming shelters. And Pastor Jim Howard, thank you also for what you do in the Heartland Church. And like you said, it takes a village. There's a lot of people helping out with this to make it successful. And if anybody has an interest in learning more and helping out, contact Whitney and Fulton County Hope or Pastor Jim Howard. Encourage you to do that and make a difference in our community. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you guys and what you do for the community because you're special. You know, you get the word out to where it's tough sometimes.
Yeah, it is. We appreciate that very much. So thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Mhm.
We'll have Tanner step in now to go over. Actually, I'll take this for National Days for Tanner's tidbits. I'm going to take your thunder here a little bit, Tanner.
All right.
What day is it we have going on now? It's Global Belly Laugh Day, National Peanut Butter Day, National Beer Can Appreciation Day, Macintosh Computer Day, National Compliment Day. That's a good day to have. International Day of Education, National Just Do It Day. That must be sponsored by Nike.
There you go. The Macintosh Computer Day. There's probably a lot of people that don't even remember that. Macintosh computer.
Yeah, Tanner will have a little bit more about that in Tanner's tidbits. And that was going to lead into the trivia question.
No, the trivia question.
And the trivia question today is, according to Yahoo, Jif is the top-selling peanut butter brand globally. What brand is number 2? Peter Pan, Skippy, Smuckers, Hershey Company, Reese's.
Oh, wow.
All good ones.
All good ones there, yeah. That'd be a challenge there.
Yes.
I was kind of surprised at the answer, but
Okay.
I peeked ahead.
Uh-huh.
So, Tanner, why don't we hit sports now, okay?
Sure. Yeah, it's still a lot of sports going on. Of course, locally and nationally, we're in an interesting time where football nationally is starting to wrap up. It wrapped up collegiately Monday night, so Ohio State win their 9th, I believe,
Yeah.
championship in school history over Notre Dame. Final score ended up being by 11 points. Notre Dame hung in there in the
Yeah.
second half. It was a little too late.
Yes.
But they could have just sat down and
Oh, yeah, it could've been a
really,
whole lot worse
really
than it
got
was.
worse.
Yeah.
And it might have been if they didn't force that fumble
Yeah.
when Ohio State was going in late. I don't remember if that was third quarter, fourth quarter, to be honest. But I think the playoff was a success for the first year.
Yeah.
You're always going to have people complain that so and so should have got in, or
You're going to have that
should have been
again,
reseeded or
60-14
something.
getting-
But this is the first year. I'm sure they'll make adjustments
Yeah.
as they go on. But interesting thing yesterday. Here's the portal world again. Notre Dame lost or haven't
Right.
lost them. They had
Potential.
2 offensive line starters jump in the portal yesterday.
Yeah.
It's kind of head scratchy, isn't it?
It is very head
I don't know if they're thinking, well, we've already played one national championship game. We probably won't get back. Let me see how much money I can
Yeah.
get out there. I don't know. But I'm thinking, as an outsider, as a person who's not a Notre Dame fan, but I'm well aware Notre Dame produces a lot of NFL offensive
Oh,
linemen.
yeah.
Right.
Probably one of the top
Yeah, and
ones.
you're on national TV every week, so I don't know what more you could really want.
Or is that sometimes a function of knowing, like, I'm a left tackle, let's say, and like
Sure.
they recruited the number 1 left tackle right behind me.
Don't want to compete with somebody coming in. Yeah, it's just hard telling. It's the way of college athletics in 2025.
It is. Money's
It's
talking.
wild.
Yeah.
Did you watch Randy?
Yeah, definitely. But unfortunately, it's the same way. I mean, I think every sport's getting that way with
Yeah.
college.
I mean, anymore you got to not only recruit new
Yeah.
people to come in via high school or the portal, you have to re-recruit your own personnel
Right.
to try to get them to stay. So I don't envy these coaches.
No.
I mean,
it's
a lot
not
of them get
gonna be-
paid good money, and now they're having to really work for it. So
You're never gonna hate this, Tanner, but I was with a group of IU people on
Uh-huh.
Monday night
Yeah.
watching the game together,
yeah,
and it's like, isn't this pretty amazing that we were actually part of the picture.
Oh, sure. No, absolutely is. Absolutely is. And, you know, the Purdue fan, and he's already looking at the schedule for next season. Oh, great. We play the defending national champ now and defending national runner-up.
Yeah.
So did IU this year.
Yeah.
They did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did. Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, it's interesting.
It was a great college football season.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
You know.
I'll speak for yourselves, but
For
no,
the
overall
most
it was.
part, yeah.
Overall it
Now
was.
speaking of Purdue basketball, they're hot again.
They are, but they dropped the
And they dropped a
frustrating
big
one on
yeah.
Tuesday night. My wife got on me how I acted during the game Tuesday.
I love
Up 13 points at half, you think they got it in the bag, and then Ohio State comes out hot in the second half and upsets them at home. But the Big Ten, I think it's going to start getting really cluttered. Saw
Yeah.
Illinois lose again last night
Okay.
at home to Maryland. Now, Illinois was missing their starting center, but still Maryland went there and whooped them.
Yeah.
Michigan State's the only team in the conference who hasn't lost a game yet, but if you look at their schedule,
It's
it
coming.
really ramps up
Yeah.
coming up soon. So it wouldn't shock me if the Big Ten winner ends up with 3, maybe 4 conference losses.
Yeah.
And Purdue's got a big one tonight against Michigan at home. That's at 8 o'clock on Fox. It's almost, I hate to say, it's almost a must-win though if they want to stay in the mix for the Big Ten championship.
Once that's where IU choked it on the road
Yeah.
at Northwestern.
Northwestern,
I mean, they had the lead at
Yep.
halftime, and next
Yep.
thing I know, it's like, what happened?
Yeah, it's,
You know, but
It's Indiana basketball.
it is Indiana basketball,
happened.
but still. But yeah, I think that's part of the
Yeah.
Big Ten, though.
Up,
Yeah,
down,
that's-
sideways.
and now they host Maryland Sunday, who,
Yeah.
like I said, is coming off a big win
Right.
last night at Illinois.
Right.
So you don't know what you're going to get. That game's at noon on CBS on Sunday. Let's see here.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is at Virginia tomorrow at 6:30 on ESPN2. Both those teams have losing records. They need to win. And Butler's miserable season continues. They lost by 2 in overtime to Connecticut the other night. Played them tough,
Yeah.
but
Actually, watched the end of that game.
They
It
ju-
was pretty interesting. I mean, they had a chance to win that game.
uh,
They were on at UConn's
Yep.
home field.
they played them tough the first time they played them this year too. They've already played them twice, and Hurley, UConn's coach, has become the most unlikable coach in sports.
Yeah,
I
there's
think I
something
can
that
say
happened
that.
in the
He's
game.
the best coach out there. He even said
To
so.
himself.
Yeah.
He said that to the refs. And then he backs it up in his comments after the game or the next day.
Yeah.
He's very unlikable. Good coach, don't get me wrong. But he's,
personable. He's not.
yeah.
Kind of made me think more of like the Bill Belichick of kind of the Patriots. Kind of
yeah.
like that kind of arrogant attitude.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Butler hosts DePaul tomorrow at 4 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. Why that game's interesting is Chris Holtman, the old Butler coach,
Oh,
is
that's
making
right.
his return. Now he's DePaul's coach.
Okay.
Was at Ohio State after he left Butler, but that'll be interesting. Then NFL, we will know by this time next week who's going to match up in the Super Bowl 59.
Yep.
Commanders are at Eagles at 3 o'clock Sunday on Fox. That's 2 inter-division rivals against each other. The Eagles are 6-point favorites. And the Bills travel to Arrowhead Stadium to play the back-to-back defending champion Chiefs. Chiefs are 2-point favorites. That game's at 6:30 Sunday on CBS. So I think the whole country outside of Kansas City will be pulling for the Bills.
We got the Bills have already got a roughing the passer call. Just
Oh,
for that game.
absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
I saw
100%.
some
Yeah.
on X this week, like right after the game on
Uh-huh.
the weekend. The Bills have already been called for
Yep.
pass.
Yep,
pass
100%.
Yeah.
You hate to say it, but you kind of have that mindset going
No,
in. You got to
it's
beat not only the Chiefs, but maybe the officials a little bit as well.
Those
It's
football
funny.
games.
I mean, it's all over. I
Yeah.
mean, any social media you're
Oh, yeah.
watching and you're listening to. I mean, it's even getting to be where some former NFL quarterbacks
Are
are
speaking
commenting.
out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when they start speaking out, it's
Yeah.
it's not just people seeing it.
Right.
So high school sports.
Yes.
Randy,
High school
what's
sports.
Johnny
It is a
covering?
crazy busy couple of weeks coming up as.
18 days now.
Yeah, because Tuesday and Wednesday were both postponed for Rochester boys and girls, and those go to next week. So tonight we start out on the road to Manchester with the boys. Then we're home tomorrow afternoon with the boys for a Tri-County afternoon matinee. That's a 1 o'clock JV start. Tomorrow night we go back to Manchester for the girls. They've got a JV team that will play beforehand, and then the Rochester-Manchester girls will battle probably about 7:15ish. So we'll be on the air a little before 7 with that. And then Monday we're back home with the makeup game of Taylor that was supposed to be Wednesday night with the Lady Zebras. Tuesday night the Caston Rochester boys makeup game will be down at Caston. Wednesday night we're here for our sectional preview show for the girls because I forgot to mention there's a sectional draw Sunday for the IHSA girls. That tournament gets started February 2nd, I think it is, whatever that first Tuesday in
Almost need a
February.
roster, Randy.
I do.
So if you want to talk to Randy, he's either going to be
It's
at the
come to the ball
gym
game, yeah.
or on the road.
And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday next week, we're back at it again. So.
What I'm impressed with Todd, and for anybody that's not watching us live on Facebook right now, is Randy just did all that
From
without
memory.
any notes in front of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Only because I've been studying it the last 2 days, trying to figure out, okay, where am I going to be? How can I get there? And where?
Yeah,
Well, that was already lost trying to think, okay,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The important part is this weekend it's Manchester boys tonight, Manchester girls tomorrow night, and Tri-County boys at Rochester tomorrow afternoon.
There you go.
So
okay, so we got,
we got one home game this weekend, and then we're home with girls on Monday.
There you
So,
go.
and if you want to learn more, check out the
Yeah.
Rochester,
yeah, just keep listening, and we'll
Yeah.
have a game. I'm sure we'll have a game for you sometime.
or Randy will be driving to that game.
Yes,
Yeah,
And then, like I said, the girls sectional draw coming up on Sunday. You can hear that here on Giant FM. So
Crazy
Great.
that time.
It is
Thank you for what
postseason.
Giant FM does to cover
Yes.
local high school sports.
we're on the go. That's for sure.
You got some on this days real quick. I want to go through on this day in 1935. The first canned beer, Kruger's Cream Ale, was sold by the American company Kruger Brewing Company. That's why it's the National Beer Can Appreciation Day. I'm assuming, I guess.
There you go.
On this day in 1940, The Grapes of Wrath was released. It would later then become a book as well. On
Did
the-
not know it was a movie first.
yeah, I was surprised by that too. On this day in 1964, CBS purchased the 1964 and 1965 NFL TV rights for $28.2 million.
Yeah, just in
Nowadays, it's
yeah.
increased just a little
Oh,
bit.
that's probably
yeah.
all one of the broadcasters gets paid.
That's you're probably right. I was gonna say that's what some position players get paid in the NFL
Yeah.
anymore, pretty easily. On this day, 1984, Apple Computers Incorporated unveils its revolutionary
There you go,
Macintosh
Randy.
personal computer in a Super Bowl TV ad.
1984.
Yep, that ad's still iconic to this day.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's crazy.
And on this day in 2006, Walt Disney International and Bob Iger, I believe so was it, announced it was buying computer animation film studio Pixar for $7.4 billion. I think that's worked out pretty well for Disney.
That's turned out really
Yeah.
well. They've reinvested that and made plenty.
Yep.
So.
Having kids that grew up in the Pixar age, those are great.
Oh, they
They're
are.
all great movies.
They are.
Even if you're an adult and want to go see some good movies, pick out any of the Pixar movies.
Oh yeah. I don't even want to start listening because I'm
Toy
going to
Story
forget
is
some.
my favorite.
Oh, that's hard to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, there's some great ones out there
Uh-huh.
for sure.
Well, thanks for the tidbits, Randy. We have some upcoming events we want to highlight. Times Theater is holding Grunge, The Sound of Seattle, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, paying tribute to Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Soundgarden, kind of 90s band.
Yeah, I was trying to find a trivia question related to that. I couldn't find a good one because I like most of them. So,
Yeah.
You
Good
mentioned going. Are you going to try to go?
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. Still up in the air.
band.
So
Possibly.
contact Times Theater for tickets. They have VIP seats and everything available, and Julie Chambal will be willing to help you out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Legislative breakfast will kick off tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. at the Kewanee Union Township Library. Breakfast and social networking will begin at 7:30 a.m. The series is open to the general public, and everyone's invited to attend.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll briefly kind of close with just some first federal news. We're open today and tomorrow, usual hours. Kind of a strange time of year to be thinking about mortgage loans, but it really is a great time of year because if you think about planning for the spring, contact Ben Dalton or Stacy Wilson or Winnemac person.
Yep, Ryan Austin.
Ryan
Yep.
Austin, thank you.
Yep.
And we'll be happy to help you out. Good time to think about mortgage loans and find out what you need if you want to plan some spring activities regarding mortgage lending.
Yep, we've got a lot of programs to help you out.
So I need to make sure we hit the borrowers must meet underwriting guidelines. We are FDIC insured and equal housing lender. And our NMLS number is 3899927.
There we go.
Peanut butter time.
Peanut butter time. All right.
According to Yahoo, Jif is the top-selling peanut butter brand globally. What brand is number 2? Peter Pan, Skippy, Smuckers, Hershey Company, Reese's.
I'm going to say Smuckers.
Smuckers. And the answer is, Tanner has it here,
Somewhere, right?
Skippy.
Skippy. That was going to be my second guess.
I grew up with peanut butter sandwiches.
Yeah.
And I think all I remember is Peter Pan and
Peter Pan.
Skippy. And maybe Jif was more expensive because that's the thing my mom never bought. I love Jif now.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
But also Hershey's says too. You
Yeah.
can't go wrong with
No,
any of those.
any of them.
Peanut butter's great.
Well, thank you. We'll close with words of wisdom today from H.G. Wells, an English author. If you fell down yesterday, stand up today.
Very good.
Hopefully
Very
not on the ice.
good. Preferably. Todd, Tanner, you guys have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next Friday.
Thank you.